So I almost forgot to film this. I showered today and my hair is like super frizzy. Great, awesome. It's also super curly, so that's cool. So I am going to finally start selling my plants on Mother's Day in less than a week now. So I met this guy, he's one of my customers, and he's like an older guy who sells fruit outside of the 7-Eleven across town, and he told me I can come sell my plants there with him on Mother's Day because he always has like a huge sale on Mother's Day with a bunch of flowers. So what I'm starting off with is he brought me a bunch of jars, and I have had a lot of cuttings that have started rooting sitting in large jars that I have. So what I've done is separate all of those into their own individual jars, and now also, to be 100% transparent with y'all, I do not even know what these plants are. I just know that my neighbor gave me one cutting like this, and I was able to start a whole massive plant from it, and I've trimmed it twice and got all of these cuttings from it that all have massive roots already starting. So, yes. Anyway, what I'm going to start next is putting this group of pothos into each individual jars as well. These all started as single leaf cuttings that I put into this small bowl for months now. So they grew together and all have crazy roots and all have literally started growing new leaves because that's just how pothos grow. They love me, they love water, they love what I do to them. I don't know. But I'm going to separate all of these into their own little jars now. I don't think I have enough jars, honestly. We'll see. And these are the other plants. These are actually the first plants I planned to sell because I figured out how to cultivate them and became obsessed with them ever since. Can you tell? Those are the only green variety that I have. The rest are all purple. And if they get enough sun, they grow purple flowers. I love these so much. They're called false shamrocks. Their technical name is Oxalis triangularis, and they actually close up at night when they've gotten enough sunlight. None of these are closed, so I can't show you. But these are all little sprouts that I have 50 out of 50 success rate in this. So these all need to be regrown again. I had to snip them when I moved because they all just looked weird like that. So, but they'll all grow back. And yeah, these are ready to sell. These ones I'll be selling. These ones still need growth. So these all in the blue pots are singulars and they're ready to sell unless, they're not growing anything because I snipped them. But these ones, even if I snipped them, they still have some growing, so I'll sell those. This, however, is a cultivation pot because if you can see there, that's what they grow out of. They're called bulbs. It's like a pine cone. And there's like 10 of them in here. So that's for when I want to start cultivating more. And then so is this pot, so is that pot, and so is that pot, and that one as well. And then I have another one somewhere. But yeah, cultivation, y'all. It's pink. It's so gorgeous. I love it so much. Tiny, tiny. And I have one African violet. I have two at my work I need to grab because I got laid off. Yes, I was laid off. I will be laid off on the 20th. Not for any other reason other than the gas station I work at was bought out by new people, by new owners. And I kind of knew it was going to happen. I was given a warning months ago, so I kind of had a feeling it was going to happen at some point. It's strange the timing that it happened in, but it's kind of good. It's kind of good. And I'm going to start selling my plants, so that might help me out in this growing in this town, becoming more in with the community, because it's taken me a long time to do that, so this might help. I mean, I subconsciously kind of planned for this. How many plants do I have? Like, come on. I have so many plants ready to sell. Like, I've wanted to branch out on my own for quite some time. So, you guys ready to see how it goes? I'm excited. These are so weird. So this is a part of a vine that broke off of my wall from my largest pothos. And what I did was I just cut the vine into pieces. It had no leaves, okay? The only thing that it had was these black dots that if they have those, they will sprout roots. So these vines, just these chunks of vines, sprouted roots and then have started to grow leaves. Like, is that not so cool? I love it. I love what I can do that I never, like I literally, when I first moved to Fort Collins, like 3 or 4 years ago, I didn't think I could keep plants alive. I was one of those people who thought, oh, I can't keep plants alive. Yes, I can. Just instinctively I can. Before I even knew what these were, I saved one from the side of my apartments, my old apartments, and I was able to keep it alive, and ever since, pothos have become my babies, and I love them. But what I'm gonna do now is, because this is so large and my jars are so tiny, I'm gonna have to cut this whole vine away. This doesn't matter. It has no more black dots on it that will form roots. You might be thinking, oh, those will grow roots. No, those are just points of damage where it's starting to die. This is what I mean by black dots, where it raises out of the plant itself. That's what will eventually start to form roots. So if I cut all of this away, this long chunky vine that's literally still alive, it's so strong, cut it away, this little baby is still going to thrive because I'll leave this part with all of its roots that have greatly established, and whoever buys it puts it in either in water or in dirt, it will grow happily. I have just exactly enough jars. I thought I wouldn't. Look, see, this is another example of the exact same thing. It just started out as a vine that I put in water, and it sprouted roots from the black dots and has now started to grow its own leaves. They look strange and tiny because this was packed in such a small bowl with so many other pothos leaves and roots. So if they don't have a lot of room to grow, they'll grow really tiny leaves. They'll still grow though, and then if you put it into a bigger pot or a bigger bowl of water, they'll start to grow larger and larger leaves. The only thing is, this will never change size, this leaf right here. The only thing that will get bigger is the new leaves that grow once it's happily established. But this new leaf that's just starting off here, that's gonna be most likely pretty tiny too. But if you look at some of these, they started off with super large leaves, right? Because that's when I first cut them off of that vine. Some of the vines had leaves on them still, some of the parts of the vines. So like this one still had a giant leaf on it. And then the new leaves that have grown are very tiny because it was put into a bowl after that. But this leaf will stay that big and continue staying on the vine until for some reason it gets unhappy and the leaves start dying. But honestly, very rarely have I had pothos leaves die on me. Very rarely. Only if like a big weather change happens and I don't have it in the right spot, or it's like right above my heater or something and I didn't realize it. But other than that, these leaves should not die on you very often. If they do, that means your pothos is unhappy, that it might need repotted, or that you're watering it too much or too little. The only way you could really be watering these too much though is if it's starting to get root rot. In that case, then it definitely will start dying and having problems, and you should you don't need to water these very much. I know you might think, she's putting them straight into water and they're thriving, I should water it a lot. No, you don't need to water these very much at all. In one of my previous videos, my moving video, my pothos was growing into my wall in my bathroom simply because there was condensation behind my bathroom mirror. So it just needs condensation and it just needs water, but not much at all, I promise you. Water your plants when the dirt gets dry. That's it. Poke your finger about an inch deep into the dirt, and if you feel that it's still moist an inch deep, don't water it. But if it's bone dry, water it. And I have a weird watering thing I do with my plants. I'll show you guys that one day maybe. But I don't water like a normal person. I'd probably get hella judged. See, this is a very healthy leaf. It's so sturdy still. I truly did have exactly enough jars. And this one is very tall, so it needed a taller jar. Beautiful. Oh, I'm excited. Now look at all the plants in the jars. Each jar has its own plant inside of it, and they are all very happy. And I think they all might find some new home soon, so that I am not taking care of 50 million plants. Those are the other ones, let's not forget. And all of those are very established pothos from the same cuttings, but they have been potted for quite some time, so they're super established. This is a cutting of one leaf that I put into a pot that had roots, right? And then these are all the new leaves it's grown since it's been in its new pot. Boom. And here's a baby version of that. This was the first leaf it ever grew. How gorgeous. And now they're super green. Just again, how it depends on how much sunlight it's getting at that time of the leaf growth. These ones super mostly green. First leaf. This was his first leaf. New leaves. This was this first leaf. Oh, gorgeous. And these are the new leaves. Because these are in pretty small pots, but they can always be repotted. Sometimes they like to be in the same spot for a long time. So this one's doing really good. This one, it's doing really good, but not as well as this one. It's so thick and strong right there, and just so growing so happily in this pot. Yeah, these ones, this might be the best size pot for these, I'm discovering. Yeah, I love these. So these are all going to be for sale too. Might do these ones for 15 because they're so much more established, and then these for like, I don't know, 7, and then the ones that are not in dirt yet I'll do for like 5. And this is that first ever pothos I told you guys about that I saved from outside my apartment building. It was dying, and I just decided I'd try to keep it alive. And this was the start of my whole pothos journey. Now I have this one next to it that comes from that pot behind it. And then this is a neon variety that I'll one day start to sell as well and cultivate. But this one takes a lot longer to grow. It's only that long versus those ones that are super long. I don't know, it seems like they're a little harder to satisfy, but this one's finally really getting happy. And I love how it's so neon green. And then this guy up close. Clearly something likes to eat my plants, but it's still happy. It doesn't care. It's so thick down here. And this is where I trimmed it last. Right there is where I trimmed it last and got all those cuttings from. Cuttings, and then I have 7 more that are already in the pots over there, so that's 27 pothos. And then whatever these are called, I should find out by the time this video is out, because when I'm selling them, I'm going to need to know what they're called. So I'll put them here, whatever the name of this is. But let's see how many I have. 2, 4, 6, 8, 10. Okay, I can't do it like that. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, which is my lucky number. 14, y'all. That's awesome. So I have 14 of these. 27 pothos. And quite a bit more of my purple shamrocks over there. So I'm basically ready to start selling them. I have 6 days, 5 days until Mother's Day when I'm going to go out and sell these. So I will film what I can for you guys because I'm excited. It's my first time doing something like this. So yeah, I'll let you guys know how it goes. See you then. Okay, so it's the day before Mother's Day, and I know this one looks bad, but he's still about to grow a new leaf. You see that chunk at the bottom there? That's going to be a new leaf. So whether or not this leaf survives, it still has a root system and will grow new leaves. So I love that. Anyway, I need to look up what this plant is because I don't know what it is. I just have kept them alive on instinct, which is dope. Okay, so why is it saying that this plant is supposed to be a lily plant? There has never once been a lily flower growing out of this thing. But the leaves are right, from Typhonium blumi, but there's literally never been a flower. So is this Typhonium blumi or is this not? Look at that baby. Oh my gosh. Yes, queen. These were all of the better growing ones that came out of here. So as you can see, I like ripped up out of here what was growing and put them in there. If you've watched my previous plant videos or any of my videos and you see my plants, you're probably like, do you have more plants? Yes, I do, okay? I got let go from my job and had to bring all of the plants that I was safe havening over at my work. I had to bring them home to here, which isn't even a permanent home. But one thing I've learned about myself is plants are a huge part of my life, and I can keep them alive basically through anything. The one plant that's not happy right now is the orchid, but that's to be assumed. Orchids will not be happy if you move them too much, and by golly did I put it in a car and move it a bunch. So all the petals are dying on the orchid over there, but they will regrow because that plant completely died on me a year ago, and I kept it anyway thinking it would come back. And it did last winter in the below 0 temperatures. One super cool thing about living with this lady is that she loves flower petals too. So I've been saving all of these orchids for her because she presses them into little greeting cards. Isn't that adorable? And me calmly talking about my plants has pissed the people off above me, and they are slamming and stomping things as loud as they can. I hate it. I don't want to live in apartments ever again. This sucks. One last thing, I've had these growing in here for so long, over 6 months now, that I have already snipped off all of the growths that first started, and these are all just new growths. And this thing is completely just falling apart because it's been watered and watered and watered. So when I scooped these all out, some of them just completely fell apart, but that still worked for me to get them out. But the roots were growing through the bottoms of them in a lot of the cases here. It was interesting. I'm making this sign right now, and my phone was holding that corner down. This is what this looks like.
Here you go, Mommy.
Thank you.
This is just
The cloud is ominous, but I think it's fine. I think it's just been passing over us. So some of these are not happy. It's too hot for them, but also other parts of them are still totally fine. So I think I just can't keep them out for too long, but it's like 70 degrees luckily, so it's not too hot, and the sun isn't beating down on them, so they're fine. These can get through anything and grow still. I am out trying to sell my plants right now. As soon as I got all my plants over there to the gas station, which I had to get a ride from an old guy who I didn't know and who totally could have been a murderer, and I could have ended up dead, but he wasn't. He was nice, thank goodness. He drove me with all my plants over there. And the weather, the sky is gray and there's a bunch of ugly clouds and it's super windy. And all of my plants are over there. I came to get my dog and get some food in me, and this is just crappy. I really want to stay out there with my plants for like 24 hours straight and try to sell them, and like literally immediately, like we couldn't on Mother's Day because it rained all Mother's Day. So now it's like the 16th and we still haven't been able to, and now it's like, am I going to be able to now even? I have so many plants set up out there too. And I'm worried the wind is going to take them away, and if I leave that guy with my plants there to sell them like I have now, he has no clue about any plants. So, and he's like rough with them, because men are rough with plants and it sucks. So I'm like, I should be over there. I need to get back over there. But is this even going to work? I don't know. And I mentioned he knows nothing about plants, because if someone tries to buy something from him, he's not going to know what to say at all. I have a whole spiel, so I have to get back over there. Oh, and not to mention, I'm having to walk through a construction site, literally, just to get across this cemetery to the 7-Eleven where I'm selling at. Otherwise, I'd have to walk a complete huge circle around the cemetery. So this is really complicated. Construction men are staring at me. There's literally like 50 of them. And I've had to get help twice now from a construction man to escort me across the whole way so that I don't like get hurt, or I don't know. I shouldn't be walking through the construction site, but they're letting me. So what had happened is things went south with this man very quickly. The man who sells the fruit that I was selling my plants with, and I've decided that since this whole beginning part of the video was so like happy and good vibes, I think I'll make a part 2 where I tell you guys everything that happened that went south last night. This was literally yesterday. All the footage you're seeing is from me currently yesterday, and I had to force myself to film a story time type video before bed last night and just get it all off my chest, because I never want to talk about it again. So I'm going to edit all of these together and post it so that I never have to think about it again. Yeah, please watch part 2. It's very interesting, and you'll get to see from a perspective of a young female directly what it's like to be a young female trying to scrape her own way through the world. It's really disturbing, the things that I have to go through right now, especially while I'm alone and single and in a very vulnerable spot. So yeah, watch part 2, please. Thank you. Give this video a like if you enjoyed seeing me happy and excited about all of my plants, because I was enjoying it too while it lasted, and I'm still excited about them. I still love them, but I have to figure out a whole new plan. Subscribe to my channel, hit that notification bell so you're notified when part 2 comes out, and yeah, whatever you are doing, have a good day, good night, good evening. Bye guys.